Well, today is the day that we finally talk about my UniFi setup and my full kind of in-depth review on Ubiquiti's UniFi system. Hey folks, welcome back to techgooch. This is a review that's a long time coming. And I've been meaning to do it for a long time and things just kind of got away from me. And it is what it is. No excuses. However, today we're going to finally get into it. So I'm not going to go super in-depth into things that I really could go into. I really want to brush on the things that I really like and also some of the things that I don't really like about my full Ubiquiti setup. Now I've been using the Dream Machine Pro, and this is the Ubiquiti, the UniFi 24 port PoE switch. I've been using these guys for quite a while now. If it's not known, ever since I put them in, I am a big fan of these. I have tested in many ways. I have 4 access points in my house, 1 outside, 3 inside. I have 2 UniFi cameras attached to it, and multiple other things that are plugged into the switch. And I'll be honest, if you have a larger house, if you have a small business, and that's really what these are aimed at, is small businesses or people that are very eccentric about their network, as I am, but larger variety of setups, this is a great system to do because you can actually deploy this, manage it, set it up without intensive knowledge into how everything works on a network. Right? You don't have to do any coding, you don't have to do everything. Everything is UI based. It's really easy. There's an app that makes it even easier yet. And going from my older Cisco switch that I pulled out to the UniFi 24 port PoE switch is a breath of fresh air, to be honest. I am not a big IT guy. I dabble in it. It's fun to figure things out, but it's a lot of Googling and stuff and a lot of figuring things out for myself. But yes, I was able to hop along and get my Cisco switch going and use it, and it was running fine. But it is great to be able to have the ease of access that I want with this. Specifically, if I'm at work doing something and I get a text or a call from my wife or my daughters, say, hey, something's not working, I can pull open the app and look at it real quick. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't really had that many issues. Specifically after the first couple weeks figuring things out, because within the first month, I will say, I was doing some stuff that, hey, let's see what this happens. Let's see what this does. Let's see what this does. And it's a network system that I really love. Now, these are just the boxes because, well, it's installed in my house. So I am going to show you it set up. But first, we're going to talk about each product itself. And let's start with the Dream Machine. So the Dream Machine Pro is UniFi's or Ubiquiti's UniFi. They're nicer of their 2 main gateways, I guess they basically have. They have a smaller version, and then this is the Dream Machine Pro. They have the Dream Machine Pro. And the Dream Machine Pro is obviously the one that I have hands-on experience with, but it is designed to do more than just setting up a network. It has the controller capability of security cameras, things like that. It has door access or access control capability built into it. It has access points. It has a lot of capability that this thing can manage for you. It's all built into here. And so, like for instance, when I add APs or add things like that, this is the controller mechanism. This is how it actually, all the brains of the situation. They even have a phone system that actually can tie with this, an all IP-based phone system that can run off the Dream Machine, and the Dream Machine is the brains behind the operation. It's awesome is the best way to say it. It has an 8-port switch. It's got 2 SFP ports, one LAN or LAN-based SFP port, and then a WAN or wide area network-based SFP port for kind of a second one in. That's actually going to be one of my gripes. We'll talk about the gripes at the end, so if you're interested to see what I don't like about this system, that will be towards the end of the video. So just be aware of that. So 8-port switch, non-PoE, and then 2 SFP ports built into it, and then also a RJ45 wide area network port as well, in addition to all of that. It's just got a standard 15 amp power going to it. You can do, I think, a secondary power supply. I have not. But then again, I'm also in a home. If I'm in a small business setting or if I have to have redundant power, you can do stuff like that. And then they even make a redundant power supply system actually for this. Again, I don't have any hands-on work. I just know that they sell it. So the Dream Machine Pro, one of my new favorite features is there is a little plug module that you can purchase. It's like 19 bucks. It literally connects to this thing. You set it up with this. It's wireless capability, and I'll show you it. I have it. And what it can do is it can power cycle your modem if for some reason the Dream Machine senses there is no internet coming into the system. It can power cycle your modem for you, because if there is no internet, you're not going to be able to access this to do it remotely. You're going to have to physically go there and unplug the thing and plug the thing back in. And that's basically what this does. It has a module that you can purchase that it will power cycle the modem for you. Awesome. Now, keynote, it hasn't actually had to do that in my case. I have not had a hiccup on my internet ever since I installed these. However, it has happened in the past. Now, I do have a newer modem that I bought after I got this guy set up and everything is going for a couple months. I actually purchased the S33, I think one of the faster 2.5 gig modems that that you can purchase at Best Buy. And although I have a 1 gig internet connection currently, I'm basically set for the future. That said, this also has a hard drive bay in it for NVR recording capability, so you have that security networking camera that you can attach to this, the UniFi camera system. It can also accept a hard drive and then record to that hard drive. Now currently I just have a 1 terabyte just extra hard drive I had laying around. I am actually going to put in UniFi's 8 terabyte that they recommend, that they sell, but I'm kind of in a bind because they are sold out and I'm waiting for them to get back in. And that's what you're going to find. Actually, if you start looking at this right now, this is July 5th, 2021. A lot of this stuff is hard to get right now. It's kind of hit or miss depending on the system. But, it, of course, is short-lived. It is part of that whole low, stock capability. But it will be coming back because it's a fantastic product. Now, I'm going to show you this now. We're going to go into the back room. We'll talk about the Dream Machine itself. Then we'll come back out, we'll talk about the Switch, and then we'll look at the Switch. So let's go back and look at the Dream Machine. Okay, so this is the Dream Machine as it's sitting here kind of in its stable mode or sleeping mode. You can see the little screen it has. We can actually go into the screen. Looks like there is something going on with the network. I may have to check on that. Protect, access. Oh, and that might be actually my hard drive, actually, because it's, like I said, it's a small hard drive. Access I don't do. We can go to settings, about. Yeah, let's see. Update available. Oh, that's what it is. There's an update available. Haha. And we can see the throughput at any time. We can just go in. Right now we have 34 wireless clients, 12 wired, 0 guest. I have guest turned off, so that makes sense. And we can swipe down, come back over. Let's go to protect. Update available. So yeah, it's just updates. That's what it is. Motion events. How many motion events? 2 online, 0 offline. You can just kind of get things up in the... So update, we can use the app to do the update. And that's nice. I can actually show you how the updates work. So that's basically what the little screen shows. Right now I have a couple things plugged into this switch. This is going up to my my NVR up here. It's just a connection for the NVR. This one is going to... Actually, I don't remember what that's going to. I'm going to have to check into that. This is going to be my wide area network to my actual modem. And then this is actually a secondary one that I'm trying to see if I can get this to work. So one of the bad things is you can't use the SFP, which has the higher throughput, for your primary modem input. Maybe they've finally changed that, but that's, this is your primary, this is your secondary, and you can't just use the secondary. You have to use the primary. That's at least what I've found so far. And then I have my bridger, my SFP cable going to my switch. So hard drive in here. I'll pop it out so that way you can see it. It's just a little door. It's quick access. You slide it out, and there's the hard drive. So right now I just have a 1 terabyte desktop class hard drive, nothing crazy. I got to get a surveillance class hard drive to go in here, and that's what I would recommend. But like I said, this is more for testing right now, and I am going to be upgrading this as soon as it's available. I might just get a standard 8 terabyte surveillance hard drive. We'll see. But that's where that goes. Quick and easy, as you can see, just to slide it in and out. No tools necessary even to pop the hard drive out of there. So it's fantastic for that regard. So that's the Dream Machine, that's what it looks like. So let's go talk about the switch for a minute. This is going to be a little bit different because it's a switch, right? It is a managed switch. It's a fully managed switch. It's a 24-port switch with 2 SFP ports. Now, on this is not the Pro level series. They have essentially a 24-port switch, 24-port PoE, which is what this model is that I have. They have the 24-port Pro, and then they have the 24-port Pro PoE. And then they have 16-port ones, 24 ports, 48 ports. That's what you're going to find with their switches. So they do have 2 models below this, the 24-port, I'm sorry, 1 model below it technically, right? 24 ports is the standard 24-port. This is the 24-port PoE, which is the standard 24-port switch with power over Ethernet ports. Port 1 through 16 have PoE capability. Ports 17 through 24 do not. 2 SFP ports, just 1 gig ports. They're not 10 gig ports. That's the Pro level switches. So 24-port Pro and then the 24-port PoE Pro. Those have the 10 gig SFP, faster throughput, things like that. And then either PoE or not. So currently I'm running the 24-port PoE. Eventually, I think I'm going to upgrade to a 24 or a 48-port Pro PoE. It's kind of I don't need this, but I kind of want this because of the throughput that I put between my computers, everything that I have, and my Synology server, and the back and forth with that stuff, in addition to the cameras that are going into the switch, and they're going to to the Dream Machine Pro to do its recording. So I have a lot of network traffic that is not even off-network traffic, right? It's local traffic. And so the more of this stuff that I keep adding to do this stuff, getting a Pro switch bumps the SFP port to 10 gigs, so my connection to the Dream Machine, which does have a 10 gig SFP port, both of them are at 10 gig SFP ports, I'll get better traffic between those 2 devices. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But at the same time, everything's running smoothly. It's not something that's needed right now. But that's what it is. So being what it is, this is one of those products for switches, for a fully managed, capable switch that it is. Incredibly easy to set up, incredibly easy to see things on, and just like the 8-port switch on the Dream Machine, everything that you see on the app is exactly the same, and we'll get into that as well, because after we're done with this, and I show you it back there, then we're going to actually get into the app itself, and talking about how, not so much how, but at least show you the information that you can see on there, and it's constantly changing. If I would have actually done this video a few months ago, the app was different. If I did the video right after I got it, it was way different. And how much, if you've watched some of the videos that I've done, some of the setup videos I've done on these, the setups have changed a little bit. They've gotten simpler and easier for you to do because it just pops up and says, hey, would you like to add this? That's as literally as easy as it is. So it's the ease of setup of this UniFi stuff, for as powerful as it is second to none. Now, Ubiquiti has made some fantastic products that I've done on the home side, the consumer side routers, and for the home. They're also ridiculously easy to set up, and so they're bringing that into the UniFi system as well, which I love seeing. It just makes everything easier. If on the app on the phone, the app can't do everything, and it'll even tell you that. If you start looking at some of the settings, it'll say for full setting, whatever, you'll have to go through the web portal to get to it. But essentially, it's just like the app. You just log in with your UniFi credentials, it brings it up, and you have a full page on your computer, your laptop, or your tablet, where you have full access to the full website. You can even do that full website on the phone. It's just a little hard to read because it's not built for that small screen. But you can actually go into each port on this guy, see what's connected to it. Also, you can put aliases in to name it. It's fantastic. So there's a lot of capability with this switch. It's a switch, so I guess it's not really worth going too crazy into this thing. And there are different versions of the switch. That's the big thing that you're going to watch out to make sure you get the right one. So let's go back and we'll take a peek at the switch now. All right, since we were back here actually, and we woke the Dream Machine up, the switch is now up as well, and you can kind of see the information here. So we can see 1 through 24 SFP ports. So let's go to Ethernet ports, and you can see the coloring diagram of what's being used, what's not being used right now. So what's actually powered on. Let's come back out. We can go to information, get the IP address. We can get the link down, up, so uptime 48 days. You can see I don't restart this very often. We can see the uplink currently, the current throughput. So if you ever, see if there's a bog down, you can come down here and just check right on the screen itself. 22 watts of power going out to the cameras and APs that I currently have going on. Last 7 days, 3.8 kilowatt hours, so you can kind of keep track of how much power you're using. Last 30 days, and yeah, so on and so forth. So we can just keep going through this, and then we can go to settings, brightness of the screen, color of the background, or restart right on the device. Same thing with this guy up here. I didn't show you this in the Dream Machine. If we go to settings here, you can also do a restart and a shutdown from this one as well. So that's one of those really handy things. If something's goofy, maybe you don't have access, or maybe you're down there, you can just do a restart from the device itself. You don't have to get the phone out. You can actually physically do it at the controller. So like I said before, 1 through 16, if you see that there, actually has power, so those are all PoE. 17 through 24 are not, so the only ones I don't have things plugged into are the last 4 currently. My SFP coming in, but I guess, like I said, this is only a 1 gig SFP. Same with this, if I had another switch or another aggregation device, I can actually plug it into that other SFP port. That's just a dust cover that just pops out. Well, if I can get my fingernail in there. So you can see it's just a full SFP port there. And like this guy's temporary right now, but it's going to be going in from that port once I get it all fully hooked up and done. But that is the 24 port PoE switch from UniFi. Let's take a peek at the app, and we'll go from there. So the app that this uses is called the UniFi Network app. And so if we actually open up the UniFi Network app, this is how it comes up for me. It logs in automatically for me, and it's just UDM Pro. If once you have it set up, you could have multiple systems in here. I only have one controller because it's just my house, but if you had multiple, you could go in here. But this is the main page. So this is going to just give us an overview, some experience levels, things like that. You can do a speed test in here on your internet. I'm not going to do that right now. You can see the throughput up and down currently that's being used by your system. You can see the most active clients. Let's go back over here. And then the most active applications, what's pulling the most data off of here. And then, so this is just kind of the first page. The second column down here, the second one over, is the devices connected. So here we can see my various devices. So my deck AP, my family room AP, my hall room AP, my living room AP, my Dream Machine Pro, the USB plug, which I didn't show you that. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. And then the 24 port PoE switch. And we can go into any of these. If I go into the Pro, I can see which ports are being used currently. I can plug on any of those ports to see what actually is plugged in. It's the Philips Hue. That's what I have plugged in there. That's right. And then that's actually the the Real Link thing. So, but we can go into the switch itself. You can see all the same devices that we were just looking at plug into it. The plus symbols are the ones that are actually pulling power, and then the ones that don't have a plus are not pulling power. So for instance, port 11 is a camera, port 12 is a camera, port 13 is AP, and then there's my other 3 APs. And then the other devices, let's say port 5 or is my family room Apple TV, and port 9 is my iMac. Green means it's pulling gigabit data. The amber or the orange color means it's just pulling 100 meg data. And so we can see with the connection speed, if you know that, hey, it's supposed to be connected at 1 gig, why isn't it connected at 1 gig? Well, that might be something with your cable or your connection, or it might be your device, could be. But that at least gives you a gist on that. We can see the IP address, the MAC address, the device ID, or the device version, stuff like that, and go into all these. And like I said, I'm not going to go into everything here, but down here we can restart the whole switch. We can restart and just cycle PoE power. We can do certain things within here as well. So let's head back here. The USB plug is what I want to show you. Right now it's on. You can actually turn it off remotely as well. However, if I turn this off, it's going to lose connection to the internet. So if you're outside of your own Wi-Fi, you're not going to be able to connect to this anymore. So be mindful if you click on this power switch, where are you located? Are you on Wi-Fi or not? If you're not, if you're even if your Wi-Fi at work, you're not on your home local area network, you're not going to want to click on this. You're going to want it to connect to it, do it automatically. Now I did try this remotely, and powered on, powered off like immediately afterward, and it actually worked. But I wouldn't put that. I wouldn't put a lot of, I guess, trust in that is maybe the best way to put it. So let's look at one of my APs here in my living room, which is one of my UCX Lite APs. And I'm going to do another video on APs later of what I like, what I don't like. But at least in here you can see what we can see information on users. So right now I have, if I go to users, there's 10 people connected to this, and I can see every device that's actually connected to this AP. And that's going to be no matter which AP I connect to, it's going to give me that same data. I can just click wireless and just see the stuff that's doing wireless stuff. I can do wired and just see the wired stuff. And that's the nice thing about this as well. We can go to this third one, which is devices. This is going to give me information of every device that's connected, or even some devices that aren't connected currently but were before. I can go cycle these between wireless and wired. And any of these, as you can see, like for instance, the iMac has two. One's wireless, one's wired actually. And then some of these are just wireless or just wired because I'm in all clients. Same thing with this as well. We can actually go in here and say like this. Oh, I misspelled that. That must have been a typo. So Sony, it's Sony actually. But if I had configured, this is where I actually put that in here, is I can name this device whatever I want to name it. Hit save. And that's what it's called here, is what I name it. Like for instance, the Synology I haven't named yet. Right, that's just the name that it came automatically with, and so I can go into alias right now, none, and type in whatever I want to call this. So you can do that with all of your devices, which is, I did have that at one point, kind of started going, and I never really got and finished it, but I have a lot to go through, obviously, to get it where I want it. But that way you can name it, even though it usually pulls through the name that you have it named, like on phones and stuff like that, it'll come through whatever it's called on the phone. Sometimes you'll find out, like for instance, Carmen's iPhone, that's not an iPhone, that's a Chrome thing. I don't understand what happened there, but you can actually come in here and actually, if on the web app at least, you can change what that looks like, and I'll show you that in the web app here shortly, just as one of the last things I'll show you. But we can actually change that little icon to what it actually is supposed to be. We can go to statistics and see how much data has actually been transferred, how much web traffic, file transfer, what's your biggest, suckers of internet. HTTP protocol is obviously the biggest, but iTunes, YouTube, huge as well. iTunes is going to be anything on Apple TV that's actually pulling data from like iTunes itself to watch movies and stuff, which my kids and I do a lot. So, and then last is the settings. This is where you can actually go into, well, like for instance, what your network is called, and we can go into the LAN itself and look at that information in the wireless networks. We can actually go to create various networks. So I have Schuster, that's my only network. But if you have multiple, you could actually create multiple networks, so you can have everybody separated out so they're not connected to each other. You can create a guest hotspot, and even within here we can actually change how the packets are actually delivered, if it's a group, things like that. So right now I have all APs in one because, again, this is a house, but that can change depending on what it is. That was my solar, apologize. Sounds like it's getting dark enough where we're not getting power anymore up there. Alright, system settings. Like I said, I'm not going to go into every single one of these, but you can just change the LEDs if you want LEDs on or off. You can do a lot of that stuff through here. Advanced features we can turn on, like advanced gateway settings, universal plug and play, DHCP, lots of stuff within here. Port forwarding, if you want to set up static routes, stuff like that, you can do that here through advanced gateway settings. And like I said, access complete settings, unifi.ui.com, and that's, you have to, when you set this up the first time, you create an account and everything kind of comes through there. So, and I'll show you that here in a minute, but I do really want to show you that USB plug quick. So right here plugged into my surge protector is a USB plug. That's it right there, the power's on. There's actually a power button on the side. I can just click this and it'll kill power to my modem and then click it again. This is the power supply for the modem that just literally plugs into it. So it's just a bridge between the two, like a smart plug, right? Because that's what it is. It's a smart plug that's literally being controlled by the Dream Machine Pro. It's wireless control, so all it does is plug in, and this plugs into that, and then you set it up through the Dream Machine. Really, really easy. And if you watch any of my setup videos, I did a setup video on this USB plug. I'm going to put links to all this stuff. So really easy to set up. And you know, if I do have an issue with my modem, it's going to take care of it for me. All right, I'm going to try something here. Hopefully it works good because I'm watching my phone and trying to do the camera at the same time. But if under the settings, under more, we go into AR mode. And what you'll notice is right now I'm still in the menu system over here. As soon as I click this AR mode, you'll see these star kind of patterns, AR. And what it says, let's scan. So, you know, you want to scan around or whatever until it says ready, AR rack on the thing. We kind of center it on the camera. And then clicks on. And then we can actually see in augmented reality what's plugged into the switch into each port. Now lately when I go down to the switch, it's off. Yeah, it's one rack unit off. But you get the gist. I don't understand. It just started doing that recently. It was working fine before. Weird to me. But yeah, it is what it is. But that said, you can see exactly what we have plugged in. And exactly where it's plugged in, and we can go back to the Dream Machine and do it there. But it just does one at a time. It's kind of cool. But yeah, one U off. I don't understand that. I don't know if the scanning at the beginning is a little off or what, but pretty cool. So I'm not going to get too into depth on this, but I did want to show you at least this is what the web side of it works once you log into unifi.ui.com, and you'll notice that over here on the left-hand side, it's very similar in how it lines up, so you'll know exactly pretty much what it means. So we have the dashboard. There's our UniFi devices. If we click on that, you'll see all the same devices. This is the clients, the actual devices connected to my UniFi system. And one of the things like I said, I wanted to show you earlier, like for instance, Carmen's iPhone right here for some reason, right? You can see there's two iPhones on here for some weird reason, which is interesting. We'll look into that. But if this is an iPhone, it shouldn't be. Let's go to right here on the right hand side is where we can see device fingerprint, and we can see what it looks like right now is a Chrome, which is wrong. And I can actually hit wrong icon, and I can actually go through here. And so for instance, if I search iPhone, I can find exactly which iPhone that is, and select that, and you can actually change it yourself. So for instance, for all intents and purposes, should be an 11 Pro, but should be this guy right here. But we already have one over here for that, so I'm gonna have to do an investigation to find out what the heck that is. But that's what I wanted to show you, at least what it actually looks like in here. And but yeah, that's one of the things you can do in here. So for instance, the Shenzhen one that I have connected somewhere, which is, I don't know, it's around here somewhere. It's probably in the lower ones here. Whatever. It's one of those things that I'm gonna go through a lot of these and actually get them all listed and looked right. And I just haven't had the time. I started doing it, and then I actually did a full reset of the whole system because I was changing some stuff out, and I wanted to do a full reset to see how it went. And of course, I lost all that stuff because I didn't back any of it up. But it doesn't matter. It was more of a, like I said earlier on, it was messing around with stuff to figure out things. And it's not hard to do this. It's just, it takes time to obviously go to each device to make sure you know what each device is before you keep going. So there it is. That is my full run through, at least on the Dream Machine Pro and the Switch. Let's put these over here. Let's talk about it a little bit just here at the end. I know this is a longer video because of all the stuff that I'm kind of jamming into this one video because I'm doing it over two devices, if nothing else. And also, these are the brains behind the operation. Some things I dislike. That's kind of what this last little bit's going to be about before we wrap things up. Not a whole lot. I'll be honest about it. They have, if it was earlier on, right after I first got it, I did the first setup, I'd have more gripes. Most of those gripes have been washed out by software updates. And a lot of the gripes that I had from earlier on when I did my restart, my full reset, I should say, not a restart. Those are gripes from earlier that don't happen anymore. But I will say this. If you are removing a device or swapping out devices or changing something, before you do anything, go into the controller and basically remove it from the controller. So you're unpairing it from the controller. You're unadopting it. You're unadopting it out of your system. so that that somebody else can use it, or if you want to use it somewhere else and readopt it later. So if you're going to do something, make sure you do that. This is not just, oh yeah, just push the reset button on the bottom. You can do that, but it doesn't work as good as that, right? And so just know going into it that this is a very powerful system in that regard. The big thing on the Dream Machine Pro that I'm less as happy about is the fact that while there is a 10 gig SFP port there, and there is a 10 gig SFP port for the wide area network, the wide area network can currently only be used basically the WAN 1, which is the RJ45, which is the 1 gig port. That's your primary, and that will always be your primary no matter what you do. You cannot use your 10 gig as your primary. That doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. I think that 10 gig should be able to be used as your primary and just not use the 1 gig uplink at all. Maybe that's just me, but it is what it is. There's 8 ports on here, and I have my capability of my DVR, or my NVR, sorry, being my Dream Machine Pro. You can get another device that actually has like 4 bay hard drives, but this has the 1 gig built in. But all 4 of these ports, none of them are PoE. Now I can understand maybe it's because it's a heat issue, or you don't want to have a bigger draw out of that. But I do wish that maybe 4 ports were PoE, because maybe you only want to do 2 or 4 cameras. And you could do it directly on there, so it didn't have to go through the SFP cable that's connecting your switch, eating up some of that bandwidth. It could go directly onto the NVR right out of this. And the last thing that I think is a problem with this a little bit is one of those that is, if you read into it and then you read into the forums and you read into everything, the Dream Machine Pro really is a 1 gig max throughput for it. And that's why I think that they use the standard RJ45 1 gig uplink as your primary. It's because this device isn't built really for 10 gig. It has the capability of local 10 gig support, but you're not really doing a whole lot of 10 gig stuff with this. And so that is also probably why all 8 of these, is just 1 gig, and it's not a perfect system. Maybe that's the best way to put it. All the gripes that I'm talking about haven't affected me yet, but may down the road. And then I'll be hoping for a version 2 or whatever on this. But they are things to point out. It is not a perfect system, but they are trying. I'll give them that, because every so often, right now there's a software update. It's a thing that's a work in progress, and they keep making it better, and that's the truth. They have made it better since the day I got it. It continues to be a better device, and of course they keep bringing out better things to plug into this thing. The 2 UniFi cameras that I bought, which are the same camera, is one of their cheaper cameras. They're only $79 cameras. They are PoE, obviously. They're plugged into my switch to power. But I bought them for inside use. They are indoor-outdoor. You can use them outdoor. Not the greatest for outdoor use for the lighting, but that's going to be a video review coming up very, very soon. I promise on that one. But the thing is that they keep making more stuff for the system. And it's a blanket. They just keep rolling more things out, and they keep tweaking things and making things better. So all these things hateful things against it, it is what it is. The big setup problem that I had when I first set it up was plugging an SFP from the LAN SFP, which is a 10 gig port on the Dream Machine, to the 1 gig SFP port on the Switch. It didn't know. It didn't even want to operate like it was there. I had to actually go into both controllers and dumb it down to 1 gig of both, and then she went off. And I've talked to friends that have now since actually put this in their own home. I have a lot of friends that have a lot of network experience, and they are network geeks like I am. And several of them now have this system exactly basically how I have it, and they had that same issue. So if you're trying to get the Switch and the Dream Machine to connect via SFP, and for some reason it's not working, try first plugging in just an Ethernet cable between 2 Ethernet ports on both these guys so they connect and talk, and then pair that, get them adopted and everything, get that all done, and then go to the SFP port and dumb it down to 1 gig. Don't have it auto negotiate, and you should be off to the races. So yeah, that's that. Let me show you the update process and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so we're in the app again. If I click on the settings here, I go to System Settings, Maintenance, and I can do a check for updates. And it checked, and currently it's showing that there isn't. You can also choose to just automatically put in firmware updates. That's up to you whether or not you want to do that. Or you can schedule them at any specific time. So right now it's not finding them. It must have updated or something was wrong on that. I don't know. But right now, yeah. And then if you come into here to devices, where are we at here? So a lot of times if you're like going to one of your APs, you cycle down, it'll have something down here like in the actions to update to the new firmware. But currently we're good to go. So wrapping things up, I'm a huge fan of the UniFi system. I really am. It is not perfect. It really is not. But I'll be honest, for the size of network that I have and all the things that I hardwire, and I prefer hardwiring than I do wireless if I can help it. Everything that is in my house that can be hardwired is hardwired, and that's how I like it. And I understand that not everybody can do that. But for network enthusiasts, people that are looking to really go good on the network scape of things, this is a fantastic way to go without breaking the bank. It's not cheap, I'm not going to say that, but if you look at it for what it is for a professional type system, it's well received for what it is. Also, easy to work with, easy to set up, easy to maintain, and it's not a super power hungry system. Yes, it eats more power than your traditional router does, your home-based router, but it's pretty much quiet. It's whisper quiet. So you don't have fans going like crazy. It's much better, in my opinion, for home use or for small business use than a lot of the larger infrastructure systems out there. This is not designed to go after Cisco. This isn't designed to go after those guys. This is designed to go after for the people in the mom and pop shows that really need something better than using a home or consumer-based Wi-Fi product. This is way better, way more secure, way easier to set up and maintain. That's the big thing. So, all in all, yes, this is a product that's actually designed for small business use, but like I said, for people in the home that really want something that's better than what the consumer products are offering or can do, this is a fantastic way to look at it, especially if you have a lot of hardwired devices. This is even better. Or if you're looking to do cameras and other things, IP-based phones if you want to. Right now I'm not doing that. Access control, time will tell if I ever get into that. But fantastic product. Ubiquiti, you make great stuff. You really do, and I cannot wait to see what is in store with UniFi, because I'm going to be right there on the front lines watching it and maybe adding it to my house. So thank you for sticking here to the end. I apologize if you watched the setup videos, and if you haven't, by all means, the links will be below and here at the end. I apologize for those that have watched them and when they came out and were waiting for my full review, and I just put it off. But that said, I did get to it. So I want to do more on this stuff in the future, and I want to do more setups and more of the UniFi stuff as I add it to my house. So it is whenever I get to, whenever I buy it. Or if I can get a hold of Ubiquiti about doing something else with maybe one of their products, I'm all ears, because they make some great stuff. They really, really do. So thank you for sticking to the end here, guys. And we'll catch you back here on techgooch for another video review. Keep your eye out, because I will have more UniFi stuff for review that I already have had installed for a little while, and we'll get to that. So thanks for sticking to the end. We'll see you soon.